Could 80s 5.25 and 3.5-inch floppy disks work together? Imagine pulling out a big floppy disk from the 1980s and wondering if it could talk to a tiny one from the same era. Back then, floppy disks were the main way to save and share computer data. The big 5.25-inch disks and the smaller 3.5-inch disks look quite different, but could they actually work together on the same computer? Let's find out. First, let's look at what makes these disks different. The 5.25-inch floppy disks came out in the mid-1970s. They were flexible, with a cardboard or plastic shell, and could hold between 160 kilobytes and 1.2 megabytes of data. They were used in many early personal computers and even some early office systems. The 3.5-inch disks appeared in the early 1980s. They were more compact, with a hard plastic case, and could store 720 kilobytes or 1.40 for megabytes. These became popular because they were more durable and easier to handle. Now, could you use both types in the same computer? Usually, no. Most computers in the 1980s only had one floppy drive, either 4 5.25-inch disks or 4 3.5-inch disks. If you wanted to use both, you needed a computer with two floppy drives, one for each size. Some higher-end or professional computers had this setup. For example, an office computer might have a 5.25-inch drive for older software and a 3.5-inch drive for newer programs or file sharing. For most home users or students, it was a matter of choosing one or the other. If your computer only had a 5.25-inch drive, it could not read or write 3.5-inch disks. And the same goes for a computer with only a 3.5-inch drive. There were no simple adapters or hacks that could make one drive read the other size. The physical differences in the disk shape, size, and the electronic connections made it impossible. Sometimes, people would copy files from one disk to another using a computer that had both drives. This was called the floppy shuffle. It meant transferring data from a 5.25-inch disk to a 3.5-inch disk or vice versa, but only if you had access to a machine with both drives. This was common in offices or among tech enthusiasts who wanted to share files across different systems. From a nostalgic point of view, this was part of the charm and challenge of 1980s computing. The big 5.25-inch disks felt like the old reliable workhorses, while the 3.5-inch disks seemed sleek and modern. Moving data between them was a bit of a hassle, but it was also part of the fun. It reminds us how quickly technology evolved during that decade, with new gadgets replacing old ones and making things more convenient. In the end, the answer is that you could only use both types together if your computer had the right hardware. Otherwise, they were separate worlds. This was a time when every computer setup was a little different, and moving data meant physically swapping disks or using special machines. It's a neat piece of tech history that shows how far we've come from those big floppy disks to cloud storage today.